The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Welcome tonight to the Irwindale Event Center here with the Upstate Racing League's White Knuckle Pro Late Model Series for tonight's White Knuckle Clothing Swag Life 127 here at Irwindale, California. Here tonight in the booth, I'm Austin Cute alongside Trevin Valderrama and Cisco Scarmuza in the virtual production trailer here for tonight's broadcast. We're going to have 127 laps here at this Irwindale Event Center, and Trevin, this is one of the bigger tracks that these guys are going to be running at. Trevin, you know these guys very well. 21 drivers on the field. You would be the 22nd, but you have decided to come up in the booth with us tonight and share a little bit of the insight from the driver's perspective from these guys. But this is a big track here, top to bottom. You know, there's a lot. And you say this is a half-mile track. It does not really look like it. In fact, it's we're going to go about 63 miles here. And so definitely a big race for these guys.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the biggest tracks that we're going to be on. This is round 5 of 10 in the regular season, so this is halfway, so people are going to start getting more and more excited about the playoffs. I know these guys, and they are hard charging people. These guys are fantastic at what they do, and they just amaze me every week, and I just decided to come in and watch them rather than race down the track. It's going to be a fantastic race to watch tonight. 127 laps on tap at a .55 mile track, so we're just going to see a lot of action tonight. I'm really excited to see which lanes these people would choose, because they have 0 tires in the pits tonight.
Now we take our focus from the track and put it to the points here. Looking at what the grid is right now, Matt Cucker and Stefan Marinak actually are tied for that first position, but once that green flag flies, Matt Cucker will lose quite a few positions here. He will at least lose 3 positions down to 5th position, as he is not currently here tonight. Unsure of what the situation is, but to be fair, it's not that big of a deal when you're 17 points behind in front of the guy in 3rd, and then you've got a 50-point gap to the cut line. It's a pretty big margin that he's got. We'll probably talk barely little about him since he's obviously not here, but Stefan Marinak will definitely get that lead from him, and he'll try and make a bigger move on Sean Cole. And hey, he's got the pole right now, and Sean Cole's in 2nd.
Yeah, also Sean Cool, now 3rd place in the point standings, might get pushed up to 2nd in the point standings without Matt Cucker here. I know that's a big thing with the leader being gone, but the other 2 people that have won the races inside of this series is Stefan Marinak and Jake Watson. We have yet to see the defending champion Nicholas Rasmussen win a race this season. It's going to be a fantastic race, especially with Stefan Marinak and Sean Cool both on the front row. Defending champion Nicholas Rasmussen will be starting 6th, so it's going to be exciting to see them all charge towards the front.
And these guys will get gridded up here. Like we have a full 21 car grid here on the front straightaway here at Irwindale behind the pace car, and we'll go through your iRacing starting grid. Stefan Marinak gets the pole with an 18.398. He's the only driver to be in the sub 4s here on the 10th of a second. Then you've got Sean Cool, about half a tenth off from that. And you've got AJ Hamill starting 3rd. Jake Watson, he's going to start in the 4th position. And Gabe A. Fortin, he's going to start in the 5th position.
The defending champion Nicholas Rasmussen will be starting 6th. Al Smith Jr. will be starting 7th. Justin McDuff will be starting 8th. Mike Holtzclaw will be starting 9th. And James McIntyre Jr. will be starting 10th.
Rex Hoyle will start the grid 11th. Then you got Scott Naslin and Mark Royer, 12th and 13th with Brian Rogers Jr. and Brian Long in 15th and 14th.
Starting 16th will be Dan DeBook, and 17th will be Jay DeBook. Starting 18th will be Wayne McDuff III. 19th, Michael Woodring, and 20th will be Rudy Whitaker. Starting 21st, not taking a time, will be Dylan Prostler.
Let's look at your 21 car field. All these late models are behind the late models, or behind these late model Chevrolet. Some of them I think have Fords or Dodges in there. I haven't looked too closely at the paint schemes, but nevertheless they are the same stock. And while these guys are on the back straight away, that pace car will go, and we are glad and happy to have all of you around for this race. It's going to be a fun one for 127 laps, as you're seeing all these late models start to stack up out of turn number 4. And Stefan Marinak will get the green flag. That number 25 Gator machine is gone, and we got these late models going for 127 laps. Look at the multi-groove track we got here at Irwindale. This is going to be a really fun race with how many grooves these guys have. Look at the lead. Sean Cole already looking for it.
Number 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen got into the wall out of turn 2, so that's going to we're going to see a lot of that tonight, so we'll see how drivers compare with that, with the number 24 trying to get that lead away from the number 25, nearly makes contact. That 18 trying to get inside the mix, the 13 and the 88 now side by side for 4th position. Now number 25 going to try and get that. Yes, he does clear the number 24 off turn 4. So now we're going to be seeing that number 24 trying to lurk back there and try to get back to the front.
Yeah, looks like the first side-by-side battle is going to be for 4th position. Guillermo Fortin's going to try and get 1 position here, and that's going to be trying to get in front of Jake Watson, last week's winner at Martinsville Speedway. So he's actually going to get that position over Watson right here. It's something you've got to think about. I know it's only lap 4, but you've got to start to think about tire conservation pretty early in this race, just because of the sole fact that there are no tires that these drivers can get. Not just because going down pit road would probably lose a lot of positions, but just because of the fact that there are no tires. You just cannot come down for those tires. They're not available. And if you do try and go down and get the virtual tires, well, you'll be disqualified, and that's not going to be a good night for you at that point, because you lose all your points. So looks like a hard charge from somebody on the inside. That looks like Mike Holtzclaw, who tried to get the position from Justin McDuff, and he almost had it there for a second, but just really nose the car in just a little bit too much and had to back off. So the battle for just outside the top 5 is getting pretty heated here.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard for these guys to pass, especially wanting to conserve tires. It's only lap 6, and you have 121 laps to go. And you know, it's always scary hearing no tires in the pits at a short track, because you're going to have to figure out how to conserve. And usually with this series, you have 4 tires in the pits, but none tonight. So these drivers are going to have to find something else to make them help them get these tires conserved, as we see a battle for about 10th place, 12th, or excuse me, the number 12 and the number 06 battling head to head. Number 12 still edging out that number 06. That's the number 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. And now seeing drivers starting to go to that middle groove, while other drivers prefer to stay on the top side, as we see that number 22 starting to look below that number 20 of Justin McDuff. So we're starting to see some other grooves come into play.
Yeah, middle groove starting to work out for some of these drivers. Seeing them get under the dotted line right there. Still looking at this battle, but just outside the top 5 here. Those top 4 are really kind of breaking away, and they're not really doing a whole lot, but they're all trying to get around this number 88 of Jake Watson. And Watson even said before the race, you know, some of these guys are really fast, and I think right now he doesn't have the short run speed that some of these guys have. He qualified in the 4th position, which is still pretty darn good. But these guys are quickly approaching him and trying to figure out what to do. And I do believe that's the number 22 machine of Mike Holtzclaw, who started in the 9th position. He's wanting a lot more out of his car, and I think out of himself right now, than a lot of these other drivers do. He's trying to the bottom side. Looks like he'll try and maybe squeeze back up to the top side. And to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of rubber laid down on the top side, and if these guys continue to do so, like you said, they may come down to that middle line there, Trevin.
Oh yeah, the further down you go, the better the track's going to be, because it is the shortest way around the track, obviously. So we're going to see some guys start to do some different strategies with the line racing, as we see the number 96 try to go below that number 22. We see a lot of battles back here, but up towards the front, it's mainly called between the 26, the 24, and the 18, top four actually, rather. You can throw them under a blanket, but still looking at other guys trying to make that middle groove work, and it's just not going to come in, or it could come in later in the racing, as we just see a lot of guys get stalled out as they try to go below the other cars on the top side.
Tell you what, it's calm now, but we've seen drivers in the past make some wild moves at a track like this. You can see that these drivers aren't using the full track, not using the very bottom of the track, and I definitely will say that it could be used later. It probably will be used later, especially on a restart if there is ever to be one. And that will be fun to watch. I mean, these drivers could go 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide at times at this track. It's so wide. They will have the ability to do that if they feel like it. So still right outside the top 5, it looks like. The number 88, he's still holding on to his 5th place position, and Nicholas Rasmussen's not really doing a whole lot with it. He's just kind of staying where he needs to, and I'll tell you that last week was not a good week for him, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a totally different story. Oh, we got a car in the wall, front straightaway, big wreck. I think that's going to be, I'm not sure. It looks like they already got out of their car. Wayne McDuff, huge hit on the inside wall. Almost went over the wall right there. So he got in the outside wall and just nosed it right in.
Yeah, this is all a part of short track racing. You get too close together, or your tires start to come out from under you, and you're gonna just descend it into the wall, and it's gonna be a hard night for the rest of the crew. And you gotta be careful with the way you run at a short track racing, especially when cars are so close together.
Now looking back here on the start, or not the start, but where these guys are at the very start, the front of the field. I can't say front for some reason, but the very front of these guys, they are moving their line down the track here as we're looking live now. And look at that right front of that 25. His right side is all beat up. Perhaps under the replay, something happened between the 25 and the 24, but right now the 25 has massive right side damage that could definitely play into what's going to happen for the remainder of this race. Looks like the 24 is going to go for the pass here on the inside. That's Sean Cool. He's been on a rail line the last couple weeks, and he's definitely showing that he's got some power under that machine. Really going for it right here.
Yeah, Sean Cool, 3rd place in the standings, really looking for that first win, and he's the only one in the top 3 that has not gotten a win, so he's definitely looking for a win tonight, as he is definitely staying up in the top 3 of this race tonight. It's really exciting to see these guys battle it out and try to throw caution at the wind with only 22 laps inside this race. So here he's going to go try to look towards that bottom, straddling that dotted line, and we're going to see him try to go down a little bit lower, most likely in turn 3 and 4. Yeah, he's going to he's trying to make that middle groove work for him, but it's just not happening. Oh, that was close. That was a very close call for the number 25 and 24. That 18 also had to make a drastic move to get out of the way, as we see the number 25 starting to use that bottom lane coming out of turn 2.
What happened right there is Cool actually got a really good run out of turn number 4, and such a good run that if he continued with it, Stefan Marinac was going to go around. There was no question about it. And so he checked up, and AJ Hamill had almost thrown him into the fence as well. Just that's one of those racing things where do you make the guy pay for his mistake, or do you make you swallow the pill? But what that did is that allowed Stefan Marinac to run the line he wanted to do, and that's going to be what you're seeing now. He's using the full track to his advantage right now. He's actually running some really fast laps right now. He's running from top to bottom and quite good, but looks like AJ Hamill loses the handle on his car, and he's going to lose a lot of ground on these guys. Looks like Game Fortin is going to be trying to get around him, which he did. He's going to try and get around Sean Cole here for position.
Yeah, we're starting to see the tires already starting to come into play. So we're going to keep an eye on the tires for these guys up in the front. And now a hornet's nest for P5 on back. It is very, very tight back here, as we are seeing just guys starting to dive down to that middle lane, a little lower than that dotted line that we saw before. So these guys are definitely starting to throw caution to the wind with only 28 laps in. That number 96 of Al Smith Jr. is definitely trying to catch up to those positions with that number 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen, also trying to get past that number 88. It is getting very, very close up in this pack right here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a lot of these drivers. They are actually still wearing the tires down despite being behind the slower 88 machine. And I have to tell you, if you're the 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen, you're in a box now. You can't go lower to pass him, and you can't go higher than the 88 is, and you can't go faster than him. You're kind of stuck, and looks like the 20, or that's the 96, sorry, of Al Smith Jr. tried the move on the inside, and he's really wanting this to work out. And I just have a good feeling that the 88's slow, but not slow enough to lose the position. Right now, he's playing it really smart by just taking the very top of the racetrack, and Rasmussen's kind of doing the same thing, just kind of following in his tracks, just, running his own race. They're really kind of just doing their own thing at this point. But looks like the 71 maybe wants a shot at it right here. He went higher in turn number 1, maybe get a run, but he just can't do anything with the 96 on his bottom side.
With being inside of this position before, it is not a good feeling to be boxed in, because there is nowhere to go, and you do not want to lose more positions by falling back and trying to get out of this box. So it's definitely hard on Nicholas Rasmussen, as he has a car to his inside and then directly to his outside of wall. So definitely the slightest mistake, it could end in disaster for him and his night. So we're going to see a lot of tight racing. Now he's out of that box just for a second, though, as now Al Smith Jr. is going to try to go below again, and it's just such a pain. And now he's starting to fall back into line. That leaves the number 33 and the 22 battling for position. We can see Al Smith Jr. definitely trying to make something happen on that middle line, starting to go a little bit lower than what we've seen tonight. And we're definitely going to see his tires start to roast up a little bit and wear away quicker.
But here, look at this. Now he's actually kind of pulling away. Jake Watson is away from the 71. I have a good feeling he's getting as close to that wall as he can in order to kind of get the most out of it. You can see that in this corner, not particularly getting as close to the wall, but in 3 and 4 that last time, he was going really, really close to that wall, almost touching it. And I can tell you, definitely hitting that wall can actually propel you faster. And I know the race officials will not like that if they see a lot of that, which I know we're going to see a lot of these cars sliding all over the place later on in the race. Earlier on, I don't expect it, but under 100 laps, almost to 90 laps to go, really. This race is already getting pretty quickly underway. I don't think we'll ever have to have any of these drivers come back for fuel or any reason, but like you said, this Hornets Nets is kind of dying down a little bit, but still a lot of drivers here. No, we do have a car on the wall. 12. Yeah, Ryan Rogers Jr. hard on the outside wall. Looks like he may have just slightly overdrove the corner, and it just did not slow down. Oh, it went straight in the wall. And I don't think his car turned for a good bit. So maybe a mechanical failure on the 12 machine, but it's all torn up.
Yeah, and that's got to be heartbreak for him. You just saw that car just go straight into the wall, and definitely going to beat up his race car for the rest of the night. And thankfully, no aerodynamics definitely need to be used for it tonight. But still, it's going to definitely play factor into his race tonight. And that's got to be hard. It's just had to have been just going too fast and couldn't get this car slowed down. But looking live now, back towards the front, Stefan Marinak starting to come up on lap traffic. So we'll see how that plays a factor into tonight's event, as we see him coming up on the number 94 of Rudy Whitaker, or Woodrick, my bad. So we'll see how lap traffic also plays factor and see if anybody can use him as a pick.
Yeah, and I think Sean Cool is actually starting to make that interval between himself and Stefan Marinak a little bit lower. It's just about every other lap. That time he lost a little bit, but he was consistently catching Marinak there for a little bit, but perhaps Marinak was easing off just a little bit. You can definitely see that those two drivers' lines are completely different here at this stage in the race, and I'm waiting for a driver to go all the way to those white lines or that solid white line on the bottom. And now you can see Sean Cool going really low on the track, trying to do something different. It's grippy up towards the top, but it's it's not grippy up towards the top. It's really quite slidey. I know that's not a real technical term for it, but when you get in the corner, I mean, it just wants to lose grip on that. So you guys are seeing these guys really go a little bit late in the corner there in the when they get in the corner, it's just there's just not that much grip down there.
Yeah, there's definitely starting to lose some grip down there, and or on there on the track, and it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers adjust over the race, as we see that number 12 with his beat up race car starting to lose traction, trying to get get a grip on his car, and it's got to be such a struggle for him to handle that car correctly after what happened. And he's fallen back fairly quickly, back up to 12th, or excuse me, fallen back to 12th, and he's loose again. And it's just going to be hard for him to handle it all race long, as we're starting to see drivers starting to catch him.
Yeah, he's getting passed by a lot of drivers. He was in 14th and made it up quite a few positions, but just lost the handling on it. And now he's got to really fight for every position. Really, he's just got to fight to hold the car on the track, I'd say, right now. But looking back up to 5th position, it's still the same story. Jake Watson with Nicholas Rasmussen still just right there. No change between those two, and that's pretty incredible for those two guys to just do what they're doing. And basically kind of, I'd say they have a pact or something. Or if you think about last week, maybe Rasmussen is thinking, oh, he hit the wall right there, he got in the wall just a little bit. Perhaps Rasmussen is thinking that maybe last week was a little bit more than it should have been between the contact between those two drivers. So that could be something as well. That's maybe why he hasn't tried to pass him, maybe to intimidate him. You can definitely see he's faster right here in the corner. He hit the wall, was about 3 or 4 car lengths down. Now he's only 2 car lengths down behind him, and I think Nicholas Rasmussen has a better car than what he's showing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He was second in practice. That was Nicholas Rasmussen, and Jake Watson was third. So he has the slightly better car. Definitely could be playing the intimidation factor, or could just be holding on to his tires a little bit longer, as we now are on lap 50. And we're just going to watch this battle a little bit closer, as this could very well just be a result of last week. So we're going to be seeing, and definitely we saw Nicholas hit that wall, and that definitely did not help him at all. So we're going to be watching with that. That's definitely the risk with running up high. You could hit that wall and slow yourself down a little bit, but we see that he is back up towards him, and he definitely does have a quicker car than number 88.
How about what you do with it, what you do with it, though? And I think the 71 at this point is not really pushing it. And I think we've all known him, especially last year, to be just really clean, really patient, really responsive when it comes to dealing with what he's given. Right now, I don't think there's a big urgency for him to really move up. And I think the 18 of AJ Hamill got in the wall just right there, right in front of these two drivers. So there might be a battle for position in front of them as well, and that'll be 4th place. And AJ Hamill's hit the wall a couple times at least in this race, and so he was a part of that top 4 there that we're all grouped up, but he's lost a lot of time on him. He's lost him, and he's 5 seconds behind race leader Stefan Marinac, and that's a huge interval between those drivers. And you got Guillaume Fortin, he's still quietly in 3rd, and then Sean Cools once again taking a lot of a big bite on that last lap off of Stefan Marinac. So we'll take a look up there here in just a second, but that battle for 4th is coming quick too.
Absolutely, as you see that number 88 closing on the number 18 of AJ Hamill, and when you get into that wall, that's the result of it. Either you have either that wall slows you down, or you just have more damage to your car, and hitting that wall repeatedly definitely does not help your car at all. As you see that number 88 trying to look low in that corner. We'll see if he can make that pass within the next couple laps, and then see what Nicholas Rasmussen does after that. And then that number 20 also lurking in the background, so that could play factor into the battle right here for 4th place, excuse me, as that number 88 definitely trying to look low coming out of the corner. We look towards the front, and number 25 and 24 are definitely trying to maneuver around lap traffic. They are moving lower, so that's going to help them a lot, as it's going to move them out of the way, but they're definitely going to have to deal with lap traffic for the rest of the race, so that could play factor into them as well.
And they're going to the bottom, which I think it's hard as a lap car to know where you want to go, because these drivers aren't going to the very top, and they're not going to the very bottom. And I think a discussion is going on in the race chatter right now about what their response is on that. But I'll say that it's not easy being that lap car when they're so the line is changing just about every single lap. It's getting down closer to that white line every single lap. And so I think as a lap car, you just try and go to the bottom, which is what most lap cars would do at a track like this. But it's still, I think a lot of these drivers have an issue. Battle for 4th is getting very little heated here. Looks like AJ Hamill got in the wall once more and literally used the wall to kind of propel himself a little bit. And I think he gets in the wall just a little bit again on the entrance of 3, and I said it earlier, hitting the wall is not that bad sometimes. You can almost use it to make your car faster at times. Although, like I also said, it may not be something that race control likes too well, so I'll have to keep that in mind as well. AJ Hamill still in front of these guys, and he got himself into the car length lead before these guys, but the lead between them and the leader is getting larger and larger as they continue to fight for this position.
Yeah, and then you have the number 13 all lonesome on his island, and liking what he's seeing so far, because he's keeping this position steady, and that's definitely going to help him out in the end result, as these guys have gone clean and green or somewhat clean and green for 62 laps, and that's fairly impressive. We could easily see this race go green all the way, as we see the number 25 and 24 still leading it up here and trying to find that different lane on that bottom side. As we see them get closer and closer to that white line in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we'll see when that's gonna happen, when that's gonna come in for them completely, and then they'll stay down there on that whole entire time. As we see that number 18 also trying to find a different line for 4th place, trying to keep those guys behind them at bay. And it's very, very exciting to see these races, or this race ramp up towards the closing stages in this race.
Getting closer and closer to halfway. If you just stick with it around with a couple more laps, we'll be at our halfway point. And I'd say that Stefan Marinak's got himself it's a relatively easy job, and so does Sean Cole. But I think both of them know that the race win is on the line between those two. Going for that position, and Sean Cole's giving it everything he's got, and I don't think they're backing down at any point, and they're not losing a lot of time either. Looks like for 4th position, AJ Hamill gets nudged out of the way, quite literally here. Looks like the 88 had got into him and shoved him around, and now the 88's going to get the outside wall, and he's going to go a lot quicker there because of that, and so that will propel the 88 in position, and that will propel the 71 one more position. So those guys will strip top 5 status away from AJ Hamill here on the front straightaway, but I think he got a little bit of help there.
Oh, he definitely did, and that's just a result of them wanting to go further into the field. It's definitely going to be hard to wait behind a car that you're faster than, and you see that the race is closing down, so you're going to want to keep on going, and it's most likely that they will not have a caution. So the number 88 of Jake Watson, his mindset was, I just need to go. So you're going to help him out a little bit. That's short track racing, but that number 18 definitely did not like that. He might be looking for some revenge.
Yeah, that's another position for the 88. That's another position for the 71, and really they've been in those positions for quite some time, and I think that's a sigh of relief for both of them to kind of securely have a top 5 position, knowing that they're faster than the 18. But what this does for these drivers is it lets them kind of stretch their legs out. I'll tell you what, the 88 and the 71, they have almost identical lap times right now as they continue to run around this speedway. And whenever I look at the likes of Sean Cool and Stefan Marinak and look at their lap times, they're still faster than those guys, but not by much. And when you're 7 seconds back, it's really difficult to get that lead back or to get the interval back in a timely manner. They're going to really have to hope for a caution pretty soon, as we have just now crossed the halfway point. Actually, it's been a little bit since we've crossed this halfway point. The action's been getting pretty thrilling here. And so we'll go and do that midway race break, brought to you by iRacing. iRacing is the leading online racing simulation, developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service. iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. We have a caution. I'll finish this up. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and more. This is a perfect time for the midway race break, actually, now that we've got our caution here. Once they get the pace car, we'll see what these drivers do. Remember, no tires here. I'm sure a lot of these drivers were hoping that we did the midway race break a little bit earlier here, Trevin, because now they're stopped.
Yeah, this is, we were talking, this could have gone green easily the rest of the way, but now we have caution to play spoiler, and these guys are going to get bunched back up, and that's definitely going to help Nicholas Rasmussen and he's going to try and fight for the front, and it's going to be interesting, as we saw that the number one claiming that caution as that's going to be a result, and caution on lap number 73, and it's going to be interesting to see the rest of the way. Cautions do breed cautions, and especially with these tires the way they are, it could easily be the case for that.
And that caution is for Dylan Prosler, just barely getting the car sideways. I mean, at your local short track or any other, I don't even think NASCAR would throw a caution for that. And that car was just barely sideways, and caution flew. So that's sometimes what you deal with in iRacing. And to be honest, I think some of these guys are really, really glad for that. And I think those guys up front, Marinak, Cole, and I think that's kind of a bummer for them. And even probably GMA Fortin here, as they have crossed lap 75 to 76. And what a perfect time for us to take a breather and go through the full field rundown. Stefan Marinak, Sean Cole are first and second, with GMA Fortin in third position, Jake Watson fourth, Nicholas Rasmussen fifth, AJ Hamel sixth, Justin McDuff seventh, Al Smith Jr. is in eighth, Rex Hoyle, he's going to be in the ninth position, with Brian Rogers Jr. in 10th.
Scott Naslund 11th, James McIntyre Jr. 12th, Mark Royer 13th, Mike Holtzclaw 14th, Brian Long 15th, Dan DeBook the first car lap down in 16th, Michael Woodring 17th, Jay DeBook 18th, Dylan Prosler, the person that caused the caution, was number 9 in the 19th position. Now in the 20th position, Rudy Whitaker will be in the 19th position. Wade McDuff will be in the 21st position.
That's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time, you can now visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws to take advantage of some exclusive promo codes that are going on only till the end of the year. And so you can get some pretty good deals with iRacing/World of Outlaws. And if you're a current member, remember that deal is only for new members. And if you're a current member, the Black Friday deal is going on too. So don't forget about that. So these guys are getting back to the green flag here in just a moment, going through turns 3 and 4. That pace car is long gone and away, and it's all up to the leader to say when he goes, and green flag is displayed, and there goes the 25. Good jump by him. He's going to get himself clear, but maybe too good of a jump. Look at the 24. We got a car around in the back. The caution is going to come out. I saw this coming. I think you did too. Big pile up in turn number 2.
Oh, absolutely. Cautions breed cautions, like I said, and we just saw ANSI drivers try to get into turn 1 very quickly, as we just saw that 20 get into the 96, just getting a little tap on this track on the left rear. It could do a lot of damage, as we saw. It's just going to play a lot of spoiler to all these drivers that were involved, as a good bit of it, that number 12 also involved. Not having a good day for him, and collected quite a few. And at a short track, when their car is going all over the track, there's really nothing you can do except try to slow down. But as we saw the case for multiple drivers, it just was not going to happen for them, and a lot of cars involved, starting with 20 and the 96.
Yeah, the 96 got tagged, and it was on from there, but the 96 overcorrected, did not expect to get hit again. That's why the car went straight back to the outside wall, and so that's what caused that massive crash here right behind, I'd say, 7th place. Yeah, 7th place on back is, I think if you're any driver behind 7th place before that, you got some damage. I think maybe Mike Holtzclaw was one of the only drivers really to not get any damage out of this, and he sits in 11th position right now. I think maybe James McIntyre Jr. got some front-end damage, but wow, a big mess here in turn number 1 here.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see the end of battles and contact for the rest of the night. You only got a few more laps to go, and at this pace, it's going to end fairly quickly, and drivers are going to want to get up into that top 3, top 5, as we see Nicholas Rasmussen now sitting in 5th place, following closely behind Jake Watson, and we've just seen a battle for those two, and it's been a fantastic battle to watch all race long. So we're going to be expecting to see more of them, but I do not think we're done beating and banging tonight.
I gotta say, on that restart, Stefan Marinak actually did something pretty interesting. As he went high, sort of high, in turn number 3, but came down low and kept 45 miles an hour. That it appeared that he was going faster but he actually wasn't. He was just going the shorter route on the track, and I was watching his speedometer, and he was going 44 miles an hour the entire way. I think that's a really interesting strategy, that it appeared that he was going faster, but he actually was using the track to kind of give off that impression. Then he just went, I think, kind of took all these drivers off guard here. But while we're on the caution, we'll give a big shout out to our friends there at White Knuckle Clothing. White Knuckle Clothing isn't just another t-shirt, hoodie, or hat company. We are a clothing company for motorheads and motorsports fans. Check us out at www.whiteknuckleclothinginc.com. And remember, they are the sponsor for this league, the title sponsor, that is, and definitely helps a lot for these guys and us to provide these nice broadcasts for these guys and such and so on. So Stefan Marinak will get the green flag and has a great restart. So does Guillaume Fortin here on the inside. I think that's the best restart or start we've seen from any driver so far, and he's going to get himself a great lead. 2 car legs in front of Sean Cole, and they are side-by-side battle for second place. Looks like Guillaume Fortin has the 88 all over him as he's trying to go for second place, and the bottom is where he wants to go. Is he going to stick, though? Look at the 88 machine. He's on fire right there, right behind the 24 machine.
Yeah, Nicholas Rasmussen also fell back a little bit. He's going to want to look to get back to that top spot that he had earlier, as we see that number 18 closing in on that number 88. If you remember earlier in the race, number 88 bumped the number 18 and gave way to him. So we'll see if he could get some retaliation coming up. And as we see, Stefan Marinak still leading the way, 24 into the wall. That's going to leave a little bit of leeway to the number 88. Could not make that pass, but we have a hornet's nest from that number 13 and them on back, as we see a little bit of damage to that number 33 car, and that could play a little bit of factor, as he's going to slide up the track a little bit, able to keep it off of the number 71. But now we're starting to see them calm down just a little bit. So we're going to see how many cars can make passes on these closing laps.
I'm unsure if they're calming down or not. It just appears that way since they're starting to get single file. But I'll tell you what, Guillaume Fortin's in a really good position right now. I don't think he's got one of the fastest cars up here, but I do think he's got track position, which is really going to help him in that 13 machine, as he's going to be cutting down on that dotted white line. And he's been in a good position all day, and he actually was quite good in the early goings, but I think his tires have just fallen off just a little bit. But as I say that, he is starting to catch the 88 here just a little bit. Hard to pass that 88 machine. He's a fierce competitor out here with these guys, and so he is starting to catch him just little by little. Cole's pulling away from him, and Marinak's definitely got his got the reins on this field right now. That restart was way better than the first one, and I think if he had gotten that first one, stood, Sean Cole might have had an opportunity to pass for the lead.
Oh yeah, Stefan Marinak definitely just dominating the field tonight. This is definitely his race, and Sean Cool's trying to play spoiler to that. As we look a little bit further in the pack behind Nicholas Rasmussen, we see a battle between the 33 and the 22. 33 with a beaten up race car, able to hang tough with that front crowd for a little bit, and then starting to fall back a little bit. But that number 71 looking a little bit faster than that number 18, and we see that same situation. Maybe he's just hanging back. Maybe he doesn't want to get involved with anything. Maybe doesn't want to get wrecked and place himself in a bad situation for his championship standings. But definitely interesting. He does seem to have a run on him coming in the inside of the corner, but he's boxed in again, so we'll see how he handles the situation.
That track's Hoyle there in the number 15 machine. We haven't talked about him all night. Started from 11th positions up to 7th, one of our bigger movers of the night, and he had the 17th fastest lap in practice, so a big night for the number 50 to have a pretty poor practice, a decent qualifying, and to really start turning some heads here, as he's trying to get by the 17, but he can't do that because he's got to get behind the 71, I should say, of Rasmussen. He's got to get by Rasmussen and the 18. That's hard to do. It's hard to pass 2 cars at one time at this place, just because of the fact that clearing a driver's nose is one of the key parts of passing at a place like this. But you're seeing, looks like the 18 is almost going to get the wall right there, but he's able to have a really good power off. So side by side for 6th place right here going into 1. Look how the 71 just powers in the corner right there.
Yeah, definitely that number 50, definitely working his way up and definitely wants to probably finish inside of that top 5. So we're going to see how he handles himself through the rest of this race, as that number 71 trying to just hang back there. It's a very interesting call by him, but he definitely does have that 50 below him. So we'll see how he handles the number 50 below him, and you know, hopefully he's going to get around him at some point, because he definitely does have the potential to pass that number 18, excuse me. So we'll see how he does for the rest of the race. We're coming less than 30 laps to go, so he's going to have to do a go time fairly quickly.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, less than 30 laps here, and you know, I think when you hit this mark is when you start to say, you know what, I've got to make something happen. And I think that's just what the 71 decided to do. Got in the 18 machine right there just a little bit. That allowed the 50 to get into it. And I don't know if that's an apology or not over the radio, but Rasmussen gets over the radio. And this might be the opportunity for the 50 that he needs to try and get around both of them. I said getting around both of them is hard to do and almost impossible, but looks like he's trying to make it work. But that's the second time the 18's been ran into. So I think the common denominator is the 18's a little bit slower, but I wonder if these guys are just maybe overdriving the 18. 18's trying to just mind his own business, but he's got a lot of hungry drivers behind him.
Oh, a lot of hungry drivers behind him indeed, as we see just different lines being run by Nicholas and 18. Even if it's the slightest lane, you know, it's a different line, and we can see it. We saw it working out for the 71 as you see him just diving into the corner. He's definitely getting more and more impatient. He's trying to get past that number 18, trying to get a lead, but he does have that number 50 still to his bottom, so we're going to see how he splits the gap, or if he's just going to wait for that number 50 to pass him. It's going to be interesting to see, as we still have Stefan Marinak, Sean Cool, Jake Watson, and Gilliam 14 still up in that top mix, and we're just starting to see a little bit of a battle ramp up for that 5th place position.
And just behind those guys, Mike Holtzclaw just passed for position, and looks like Scott Naslund is going to try. Oh gosh, they get contact right here in turn number 2. And looks like the 22 is going to give retaliation to the 33, and look who's coming right back. James McIntyre Jr. watched all of that happen. The 22 is not happy about that. That was Mike Holtzclaw. He got ran into. I think that was trying a crossover move by Naslund, and he gave him that back and made him really kind of repent for it a little bit.
Yeah, his car is definitely a little bit damaged as we see that car, and he just can't hold it on the bottom. We saw him slide up into a different car earlier in the race, but his car is definitely damaged, and it's going to be hard for him to hold it down there, as we witnessed number 22 just get demolished by him, but thankfully that didn't play a factor into his positioning. It only played factor into the 33, as we see now that 22 trying to keep that number 06 at bay. That's James McIntyre Jr. Trying to get past that number 22 of Mike Holtzclaw, and then right before him is that battle for P5. So we'll see how this ramps up, and I definitely think that there most likely will be a caution with the way this action is going.
Yeah, battle for 5th place is still going on. I mean, this is pretty fun to watch. I mean, the 50s is. I mean, I don't know how he's really been doing it. He's been able to continue to get to the number 18 here, just about every single lap. It looks like he loses the positioning on it. Like right now, it looks like he's lost the positioning on the 18, but he's somehow able to continue to put himself in position to get back there. I don't know how long he's going to be able to last on the bottom side, as he's only side by side with the 71, but he continues to go towards the bottom of the track faster, but I think he's just going to have to wait here, as looks like the 71 is going to get by him as well. Under 20 laps to go here as these laps start to tick down.
Yeah, under 20 laps, and it's go time for all these drivers, especially for that number 06, now passing that number 22 for position number 8, as we saw him the number 22 trying to keep that 06 at bay. Now the number 08 of Brian Long working towards that number 22, so we'll see how he tries to handle that situation. Now looking back up towards the 5th place battle, Nicholas Rasmussen trying to get a bug. He's going below. Yes, side by side now for that 5th place position. Let's see how Nicholas handles this turn right here. He's getting a little bit above him, but that top side's definitely going to have that run. 18 at the line, 71 going to have to try something different in this corner. Definitely has a nose out in front. It's getting really close here, Austin.
This would be the first battle for position that would go to the bottom side. If it actually happens, you know, no one's been able to pass on the bottom side in the top 5 this entire race. It just hasn't happened. And it looks like the 71 might try and stuff it in there. and gonna be close between these two. He actually didn't put him in the wall, but he was close. He did make a little bit of contact, but I mean, Rasmussen really wants this position, but he doesn't want to. I don't think he really wants to push him out of the way necessarily. But the 50 right now, there's not really a whole lot he can do right now. I mean, you can just watch or maybe try and go down to the very bottom of the track and try something. But 18's gonna go to the very top. He's gonna get the run, and this is still a really good battle. I mean, the guys in front of them are so spaced out. I mean, they're not even leagues within each other, but looks like the 18 goes really high, gets a little bit loose, but he's still going to have a really good run. That wall is still helping him out, and I think that might be a saving grace, but I think the 17 or the 71 might be able to get him here in just a couple more laps, and maybe not. Here comes the 18 back on the outside.
Yeah, this definitely is starting to ramp up more and more as he knows that this is the closing stages of the lap. That number 15 is still keeping that at bay, maybe waiting for them to wreck inevitably and take that position away as he's jumping down to that bottom lane, trying to make it 3 wide as we see that number 18 hit the wall again, as that's going to help him propel a little bit. That number 71 still battling hard and trying to get in front of that number 18, but it's just not happening. As you mentioned earlier, we have not seen a pass for the position inside the top 5 on the bottom side. So definitely that top side is where you want to be, but that 71 is still trying to get a little bit of position.
He got it.
18 in the wall. Now number 71 is definitely gonna be able to pass him. Now will he be able to hold on to it into the wall again? The number 18 now into the number 71. A little bit of contact, very, very close. Number 50 gonna try and play spoiler in that number 18's race. He's just getting it into the wall more and more. Now the 50 side by side with the number 71. We'll see what happens within these last 10 laps.
That's pretty exciting there, Trevin. I mean, my goodness. I mean, he made him pay for that mistake of getting in the wall that many times, and I think there's contact, but I don't think there's excessive contact between those two. Under 10 laps to go. All this battle's been going on. Stefan Maranek's just been loving all of this, and same thing with Sean Cole and Gabe May Fortin and Jake Watson. I mean, they're pretty spread out. I mean, they're just on leagues of their own. They're just so far away from each other, and I think this was the break that Nicholas was waiting for maybe 100 laps ago, when he was behind the 88 of Jake Watson. He's not going to be able to get that chance to really battle these guys for the lead unless a caution comes out. Even then, it's still going to be really difficult at this point when we're so close to 5 laps to go. But all eyes up here towards the front, looking at Stefan Maranek just clocking laps away, and hasn't caught lap traffic yet, but looks like he will just a little bit. He'll catch Rudy Widrick in that number 94 machine. His car looks probably one of the cleanest out there, being Rudy out here, but Maranek and Sean Cole, they've just been class of the field right now, and Watson is now actually going down to that very yellow line, very solid yellow line, but I think it's too late for him to try doing different tactics at this point in the race.
Yeah, it might be a little too late for Sean Cole and all of them up there, but you still have a battle for 5th place between the 50 and the 71. 50 diving it down further and further each lap, trying to make something happen on that middle line, and that number 71 is just getting too good of a run off that top side. You see him come up to about that door panel, and the 71 into the wall. That's going to help him a little bit, actually. Number 50 trying to make that bottom side work a little bit more. You see him pass him a little bit. This is exactly what we saw between the 71 and the 18, so we'll see if number 71 just gets into the wall a little too many times, but the laps are definitely closing and clicking off with Stefan Maranek still in the lead and dominating this field tonight.
Yeah, he's at his left rear. I just can't imagine that we'd be able to see him get it in the next couple laps. I mean, you just have to work on drivers for so long to get that position away from him, but we've got 3 laps to go for our leader of Stefan Maranek, who is in turn number 3 and 4 right now, and really just kind of putting a real pacer on the field. And yeah, he's going to get 2 laps to go, so Popsicle Stick's in the air, and he's driven an absolutely perfect race. Every single lap has been led by him, I do believe, and just got the pole and has never really lost it since the start.
Yeah, and just a dominating performance by Stefan Maranek again, with the restarts going great besides that one, but just absolutely flag to flag leading, and that's definitely gonna help him out in the championship, as we see that number 50 and 71 still trying to battle as we have the white flag in the air. Stefan Maranek in turns 3 and 4, and this is definitely gonna help him.
He's the championship leader before the race and after the race, as he will get the victory here at Irwindale Event Center, and to be a big win for him. So the second win on the season. We know he's been really fast in the series over the last couple of years, and definitely getting 2 wins earlier on in the season is going to be very beneficial for his championship run and for just for him in general, and getting these wins. And I think what really has helped him this year in that Gators sheet is getting those good qualifying positions. We know he's been really good at getting up towards the front of the field later on in the race, but already being up there and having a fast car, that's something I think is really going to help him as these races go on. So it looks like he will do a burnout, question mark? Not sure. We're waiting. I don't know if he's going to do one or not, whether he's going to stage himself with the other guys. So yeah, he will not do a burnout, but nevertheless, he wants to keep the car as clean as it can be. So Stefan Baranek gets the victory tonight in the number 25 machine. Just over 40 minutes as this race. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Now he's going to burn it out. He psyched me out there, Trevin, and he is going to destroy the car.
Keeping it clean for 127 laps, and then just hits it on the wall during the burnout.
I shouldn't have said that. Those are the times when you say shouldn't have said that. So as Marinette gets the victory, Sean Cool gets second, Jake Watson third. And you got Game A Fortin. He will finish in the 4th position. Nicholas Rasmussen gets 5th. Rex Hoyle, 6th place. AJ Hamill will finish 7th. James McIntyre, 8th. And you got Mike Holtzclaw in the 9th position with Scott Naslin in 10th.
Brian Long finishing 11th. The next is Mark Warrior finishing 12th. Al Smith, the junior, as we saw a little bit of contact. That's what happened with that second caution, finishing 13th. Brian Rogers Jr. finishing 14th. Jay DeBuke, last car in the lead lap, finishing 15th. Michael Woodring finishing 16th. Rudy Woodrick was finishing 17th. Dan DeBuke 18th. Justin McDuff 19th. Dylan Prosler 20th. And Wayne McDuff 21st.
That's been a look at where your drivers finished here in this White Knuckle Pro Late Model Series. And we will talk to your top 3. Stefan Marinak, Sean Cole, Jake Watson. And we'll be on the other side of things in just a moment. LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Welcome back to the Irwindale Event Center as Stefan Marinak has got the win tonight and we will speak to him in victory lane. Stefan Marinac got the victory here tonight, and really, you made it look easy. You started from the pole and led every single lap, and really didn't have any worries except for really the beginning half of that race about losing that position, and then including those restarts.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was a snooze fest in the broadcast booth, but I'm pretty drained after that one. I mean, that was such a line sensitive race. Like, I mean, every lap I'd either pull Sean by a tenth or he'd pull me in by a tenth or two, and it was I had to work for it. I know it didn't really look like it, but it was tough.
When you make it look easy, it makes you that sound that much better of a driver. I'd say from our point of view, and I'll tell you, it was not a snooze fest, especially when we had a lot of the side-by-side battles behind you, which you couldn't really see because they were so far behind you. I mean, some of the battles were 4 or 5 seconds behind you, and I know you were worrying about Sean Cool, but I mean, there were some really good battles back in the pack. But had Sean Cool got to your inside, how do you feel that battle would go? Because we had seen a lot of battles go out through this pack today throughout the field, and it just seemed like the inside was just not. It was almost impossible to pass.
I don't really know what would have happened. You know, I mean, I wasn't around any cars, but I found that, like, you know, at the beginning of the race, the high line really worked for me, and then you know, toward the end of the race, I would enter high, cut down low. But it seemed like on that really long run that he was kind of catching me using the bottom. So I don't really know how it would have worked out, but on that long run he was fast. And then luckily for me, I had those 2 cautions. The tires cooled down a little bit, and I was able to keep him probably like a second back.
Well, this is a great race for you, and in particular in the standings, because a certain somebody is not here by the name of Matt Cucker. So you're going to get some big points ahead of him and in front of Sean, who will be in second. So you guys are going to have a little bit of a rivalry, I'd say, you know, a competitive rivalry going into the next few races, being first and second in today's race and being first and second in the points. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. And I guess you can throw Jake Watson in there too. He'll take over third place. So the top 3 in today's race are also the top 3 in the point standings. That's actually pretty fitting.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of really competitive cars this season. I mean, I would say there's probably 6 or 7 people out there that could really, like, have a chance to win every single race. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that he couldn't make it. I think we were tied going into the race, but I mean, I'll take it. You know, if I can get, I think if we get the regular season championship, it's a bonus point in the chase, so that'll really help out toward that.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, as always, who makes it happen on the 90, or you're not the 90, you're the 25 machine. I'll tell you what, your paint scheme does look pretty good. I'm not a huge Gators fan, but you can definitely see your car from halfway across the racetrack. Well,
yeah, I mean, go Gators. Our basketball team just won probably an hour ago by over 40 points. And the sponsor of the league, White Knuckle Clothing, and you guys for doing the broadcast, and I hope everyone watching and all the drivers and you guys have a happy Thanksgiving.
And you do the same. Have a good week off, as it looks like it would be Thanksgiving next Thursday, and I doubt we're going to be having a race on that. So we'll talk to you soon, 2 weeks soon for your sake, and we'll wish you good luck then.
All right, thank you.
And then I'll pass it down to my colleague Stefan, or gosh dang it, we were just talking to Stefan, now you're Trevin. We'll talk to Sean here, and I'll give it to Trevin here.
You doing okay down there, Austin?
A little bit. I need to get back into the booth where it's nice and air ventilated.
Down here with the number 24, Sean Cool. Sean, you were so close to Stefan Marinac, and you know, did the tires have a factor to play in there tonight? You know, you have no tires in the pits. Usually you have a little bit over. You have the 4, and you had none in the pits tonight.
Yeah, the tires played a huge role. For that first long run we had, Marinak was real fast. I mean, he's just stellar everywhere he goes, and he was fast, and I was just trying to kind of stay smooth and keep the car under me, keep it nice and smooth throughout the entire run, because I had a feeling we were going to have a good long one. We normally do have some good long run racing here at Irwindale and URL, and that we did, and we had a little something for him. If that would have stayed green, we were ready for that to go flag to flag. I really thought we had a piece under us for that one, but once we got those yellows, and I don't know if it was getting the second heat cycle on the tires or trying to hold off some of the guys that were really good on the short run real quick there, or what. He got out a second, and I was able to keep the gap maintained, and towards the end there I was doing a little extra to try and figure out some extra cooler track or some more grip somewhere or whatnot, whatever we could do to try and make up some gap, and it kind of had the negative effect. But we were quick all night, so that's something to be proud of.
Absolutely, and this is race 5 out of race 10 in the regular season. You only got 4 more races after this, and you don't have a win yet, so are you just going to play the conservative route and just stay in there, or are you going to try and go for the win?
I think every race, the objective is to go for the win. I mean, after the win, it's whatever you can salvage after that. So, I mean, we've been really fast, and we've been getting better and better and faster as these weeks go on. So I don't see any reason why we can't show up to any of these racetracks coming up and contend for a win. I really don't. So we'll show up, and that's the main objective, is to get some wins, especially some momentum going into the chase in these last few races beforehand. And, whatever happens after that, we'll do the best we can.
Absolutely. Now, sponsors and shout out who gets it done for that number 24 machine.
Yeah, Skidoo was on the hood again this week, so we're starting to get close to winter up here, pretty much into winter. The snow's starting to fall up here in New York, so we're getting ready to get the Skidoos out and get riding, so that'll be fun. Want to thank Susan Jacome, Breast Cancer Awareness. They're always on the car. Pleasure to have them on the car every week. I want to thank Al Smith Jr., who puts on such a spectacular league. And I mean, it was just another phenomenal race. And all the competitors for clean racing, keeping it green and clean and fun. You guys up in the booth, my teammates that I kind of work with here and there throughout the week to help prepare for these races. Everybody that gets it done, everybody puts these shows on, and the sponsor of today for the race.
All right, that was number 24, Sean Cool, finishing second. Now back to Austin Coote for the third place finisher.
Yeah, we're going to get a word with Jake Watson right here, and Jake Watson, the number 88 machine here on pit road. And Jake, you get a nice solid third position, but I'll tell you what, you had to really work for it tonight, and we watched a lot. You have a lot of battles. We saw you and Nicholas Rasmussen just running nose to the hill for like the first 30 laps or so, which is kind of odd to us, but we knew that you guys, if you guys started fighting, it wouldn't be beneficial for either of you. Talk with us about how your race went and how getting to third was for you.
Yeah, not a bad points day for me. I wish we could have got 2 in a row, but, it is what it is. Tried to save my stuff early on in the race, just didn't work out for me, and good racing with Nick and Sean there at the end.
Now, it seems like any of the issues that you might have had last week at Martinsville have kind of passed on, but I will ask you that it looks like you did have a lot of momentum for the last 2 weeks of getting second, the win, and now third. Not next week, but the next time we race, it will be at the Five Flags Speedway. You think this is going to give you any momentum going to there? It's a quite different track there. Speechless, I know. We'll find out what's going on with. You can still hear me, right, Trevin?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've lost Jake. So let's see if we can try and get him back here in just a second, but I guess just utter speechless here about the Five Flags Speedway. Must have a little bit of a connection issue there, but honestly, Jake had probably one of the toughest races out of any of these guys, just because I think he had one of the fastest cars here, Trevin, tonight, and third place was kind of the best thing for him. You got you, Jake, now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Alrighty. I was asking you about how next week was going to be for you, or not next week, but the week after, for Five Flags is going to be for you.
Yeah, it should be half decent. I'm not too bad there. I'm really a short track guy and not a outside groove kind of track like Irwindale or Iowa. So looking forward to 2 weeks from now.
All right, and before we let you go, Jake, as always, who makes it happen for you in the number 88 machine?
Yeah, first and foremost, I gotta thank London Recreational Racing, Darrell Cott's Custom Diecast, and Left Turn Chassis.
All right, there you have it. We have a week off, and definitely enjoy that for sure. And we will get you on the flip side of all of that. Good luck when we come back.
Thank you.
There you have it. There's your top three: Marinac, Cool, and Watson. Definitely a hard-fought race for a lot of these guys, and I think this was just a really difficult race for a lot of these drivers to pass. I think farther back in the pack, you had a lot of drivers that were a little struggling with the setup just a little bit, and they had figured out after a while and were able to kind of situate themselves, especially after the big wreck, which took out some big runners. But all in all, I mean, it's pretty clean aside from those two wrecks.
Oh yeah, very, very clean race and fantastic. URL always puts on a fantastic performance everywhere they go, and it was fantastic to watch them up in the booth rather than be on the track. It's always nice to sit back, relax, and watch them do all the work. But a lot of cars had potential tonight, like the likes of number 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen. He definitely had a fast car, but was just held up because he had a different line, and it was a fantastic race to see all of them battle and try to get around from place to place, and definitely a fantastic speedway to go to, as we saw tonight.
And some other drivers that were making some headway. Guillermo Fortin, he was just outside the cut line before this race. I think he might be in. And then Rex Hoyle, who's also in the cut line. Some of these guys that are on the cut line are really trying to make some strides and get out of that little hole they're in here as the weeks go on. So we will depart here from the Irwindale Event Center. We'll take the week off, and then we'll go to Five Flags, one of the newer short tracks on the iRacing circuit. That will be a fun one. And for all LSRTV info, you can go to LSRT or at LSRTV on Twitter, and you can go to facebook.com/LSRTV official, and then you can also go to livesimracing.com to catch up with everything LSRTV. So from all of us here in the booth, myself, Austin Coop, Trevin Valderrama, and Cisco in the virtual trailer, and all those folks who make it happen behind the scenes between Evan, DJ, and Laura, we thank you for showing up tonight for LSRTV's production of the... Sorry, there, I had a little bit of a hiccup there. White Knuckle Clothing Swag Life 127. And we do thank White Knuckle for their sponsorship of the evening. And we will see all of you at the next track, which is Five Flags.